I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, the Black Business School. I hope you guys are having a good day. I am always having a great day here in sunny Guyana. As you know, I love it here in Guyana. The weather is awesome and the people are awesomer, even more awesome than the awesome weather. And I, I'm sitting here just thinking about life, and I would say thinking about life as a black man, but I don't want to sit around and mope about the limitations of being a black man. I think there are a lot of opportunities to being a black man, but I think also there are a lot of complications. Complications, that's the word I'm looking for. Um, I don't know if you guys are seeing this stuff going on between Tavis Smiley and PBS. If you've been seeing some of this is happening, let me know. Tell me what you've been seeing, what you think, all that good stuff. Let me delete some stuff off my screen so I can see what you guys are saying. Forgive all the little tapping noises because I literally get a million notifications and I don't know how to turn them all off. What's going on, Michael Powell and Legacy? And I see Keith. Legacy says Los Angeles in the house. That's what I'm talking about. What's going on? I love LA. We're shooting more movies in Los Angeles. We have a lot of good stuff coming out this year. I hope you guys will check it out. One is a film called The Black Love Blueprint. Zaza Ali stars in the film along with a lot of good people, Cleo Monago, Dr. George James, and some others. I'm in it as well. We also have another film called Democracy, a Black American horror story that's coming out, and that's really good. That's a film that we had to put back in production because we had some hangups, but we just went back at it and got it done, and we're very excited about that. Like, I really think that you're gonna like both movies. We're shooting web series, we're shooting all kinds of cool stuff. So I spend a lot of time in LA because we're shooting things, some things in LA, some things in Atlanta. A lot of the good actors and actresses are in Los Angeles. So, and plus they got the good weather. So it's winter time. So going to LA is cool. Let me know what city you're from. Give me a quick city shout out. Tell me what city you're hailing from. I see Baltimore, Maryland, Mr. James Pierce. What's going on? Edwin George says, Doc, I've always wondered, what is the picture in your background? Oh, well, that is a picture of what I will call. I have no clue. I have no idea what that picture is. I just wanted to say it definitively so that you would think I know what I'm talking about. That is called. I don't know what the hell it is because I'm not sophisticated enough to know good art from bad art. I swear, I'm one of those guys that will go to an art show and will look at an abstract painting and will be thinking, it almost looks like that person just threw a bunch of paint on the canvas and it said, this will be $10,000. Like, I really swear some of the art looks like that. So if you want to know what that painting is, that is called Boyce Has No Motherfucking Idea. It was painted in let me make up a year, 1974. And it's abstract and it's interpretationist, which means that I'm going to interpret what it is and make some shit up so that it sounds fancy. So there you go. So that's my analysis of art, and that's what I do. I'm just good. I'm just good like that. It's talent. You can't teach talent when it comes to art. Anyway, let me shut up. I'm such an idiot right now. Let me ask you this: if you think that with this situation with Tavis and PBS, if you think Tavis, it has a point. Tavis, in case you don't know, Tavis has been sort of I don't know if you want to call it persecuted or what, but PBS took him off the air because basically they're accusing him of having relationships with his coworkers, right? They've accused him of doing something that has been happening ever since men have had penises and women have had vaginas, workplace relationships. There are studies that show that there are more people that you're more likely to be, that you spend more time with, and you're more likely to be attracted to the people you work with than you are anybody else. I think the studies show this. They say workplace relationships are natural. They happen all the time because you're around people, certain people all the time. You're always working together. You're doing battle together, and that's why you have people cheating on their spouses and stuff at work because you're with that person all the time. I mean, we live in an industrialized nation where people spend more time on their job than they spend with their own damn kids. in light of that, sometimes, you know, people are gonna get together and do nasty stuff. They're gonna have sex and stuff. You know, I mean, is sex bad? Has it been criminalized? Has heterosexual attraction sort of become a crime? Or I mean, is it a bad thing? Does it make you unethical if you use your penis? Like I don't know. I mean, but that's what we've kind of gotten to. We've gotten to this stage with this whole Me Too thing that started. Now I was all for Me Too in the beginning. I was like, yes, Harvey Weinstein, he's a dirty, creepy, nasty dude. Harvey Weinstein is the first guy that set it all off. When Weinstein got called out, you know, everybody was coming out against Weinstein. I was like, yep, he probably did it. I mean, the man looks like Shrek. He looks like somebody that you don't want to leave your kids around. He's probably had sex with more women than he can ever remember in his lifetime. And who knows, a lot of those women, there's a good chance they didn't agree to any of it. Who would agree to have sex with a man who looks like that, right? Like, it's just crazy, right? So I was all for it back then. I was like, go get him. And then something weird happened. Something happened where we started deciding that a person who simply has sex with a coworker should be categorized with people who rape women. Like literally, it's got to the point where they are lumping together any man who's ever used his dick in an unauthorized scenario with every man who's ever like raped somebody. And when I say unauthorized, I'm talking about, you know, like people have sex with people that, you know, that they don't talk about all the time. I mean, some of y'all ladies have had sex with men where y'all like, they be like, girl, would you ever get with him? You're like, nah, girl, I don't want him. But then as soon as everybody leaves, you dial his little number, right? Everybody got their little secret sex. I was like a secret Santa, right? I guess people do that. People do that, right? It's okay. It's no shame. Don't be ashamed that you've had sex before. That's all right. That's why you're here. You're here because somebody had sex, and they probably didn't tell anybody when they did it. At least I know my parents did. My parents, shoot, my daddy was 15. You know, 15-year-old's supposed to be using his penis. I mean, seriously, especially if you ain't gonna take care of your damn kid. He didn't take care of me. My daddy was gone quick, you know. So maybe his penis should have come with a manhood instruction manual or something, because he apparently didn't understand, like, when you make a baby, there's a responsibility that comes with that. Fortunately, though, I was raised by a real man. A real man stepped in. So big ups to the black men who are stepping up where other men are coming up short. But anyway, you know, so Tavis is caught up in the middle of that. And I'm gonna tell you, you know, my reaction, if I was sitting there talking to Tavis, and me and Tavis, I don't think we're like best buddies. I love Cornell West to death. I know Tavis and Cornell are real tight. I'm cool with Cornell. Cornell checks on me like once a year. When Cornell talks to me, I listen. And the reason I listen is because I have seen him in a multitude of scenarios, both private and public, and I have never once seen Cornell behave in any way that was less than entirely authentic and loving and supportive. I was with him about 3-4 years ago. We did a thing in Brooklyn. I was with Cornell like for 7 straight hours. And it was my first time meeting him in person, 2013. I'd seen him before, you know, I'd met him in 98 and I asked him for an autograph and he signed it real quick and was like, okay, you got to go, you know, right? But later on, we got to know each other, you know, years later. And the whole day, first thing, let me tell you this is a true story. I'm not making this up. The first thing Cornell does, we walk into this Midtown restaurant, and it's like one of those restaurants that was like filled with white people, because if he's in a black restaurant, he would get mobbed. The white people, they didn't care. They were like, oh, that's 2 niggas just talking, right? So I walked in, and first thing he does is in the middle of a restaurant full of people is he gets down on one knee and bows his head and puts his fist on the ground, literally bows. And I'm sitting here thinking, I mean, again, I was, you know, fanned out. I've always loved Cornell. And he bows to me when he meets me. He just, as like this really interesting and really touching sign of humility. And then he didn't do what a lot of celebrities do. A lot of celebrities are full of themselves. That's why I don't really like celebrities. So a lot of celebrities, they'll talk about either something that's stupid or they'll talk about themselves, because they all kind of believe that they're the most important person in the room everywhere they go. That their story is always the most important story, and that everybody needs to, kind of just circle around what they're saying and whatever. It gets annoying. Like some of them are just flat out narcissists, and it's just irritating. Cornell literally for the first hour we were talking was asking me like, tell me about your parents. Tell me about your mother and your father. And I mentioned, I said, yeah, my parents, my mother was a social worker and my father was a police officer, and they're very conservative. And he says, well, it sounds like Robin and Larry did a wonderful job of raising you. And here's the thing, I hadn't even told him that my parents' names were Robin and Larry. I had not told him that. Right? So I have to throw this out there because people throw shade on Cornell. Now, maybe he was schmoozing me. Somebody says he schmoozed you. Well, shit. I mean, why not schmooze people? I mean, why not be nice? Right? We can all be either nice or we can be assholes. We can make a choice. Right? So why not schmooze and be nice to people, even if you don't feel like being nice that day? So maybe he was blowing smoke up my butt. Maybe he was just whatever. But I wasn't nobody. A lot of celebrities meet people and they don't care what you think. They don't care how if you feel good meeting them. They're jerks, So anyway, I watched when we were walking. We had to walk a few blocks to go pick up the car, and people were stopping him on the street. Now then, I'm kind of in a mixed bag. Like sometimes the brothers will stop me. White people don't know who I am, and I kind of want to keep it that way. But the brothers will stop me. But Cornell was getting stopped by everybody because he's kind of in that, that white liberal space, that space that I don't really mess with, because I think the patronizing behavior is problematic for me as a person who strives to be an independent black man. I want to build empires in the black community. That means I don't need your charity. I don't want it. But they like him, and that's cool. Ain't no wrong with that. And every single person he talked to, he treated them as if they were as important as the president of the United States. I saw him talk to the janitor. I saw him talk to, people just walking on the street. I saw him talking to little old ladies. I saw him talking to brothers that looked like they were in the struggle. They didn't have a whole lot of money or whatever. And he respected everybody, So if you want to know why I'm a big defender of Cornell, it's because I've seen a lot of these people behind the scenes. And y'all seen me call out people, and I don't know if maybe I called her on a bad day, but y'all saw me, be honest about Angela Rye. And I said, I met her and I was really disappointed. And a lot of people felt that way. They were there. They were like, my God, we were looking forward to meet this lady. And she's kind of cold. Like she's mean to everybody. And because some people just kind of start feeling themselves, Cornell, I've never seen him do that, So anybody who kind of says, oh, Cornell was just jealous of Obama, or Cornell's jealous of Ta-Nehisi Coates and all that, I can't ride with that because I never saw a bone in his body that even gave me any indicator that was the person that he was. So anyway, that's my segue on Cornell. I'm gonna go right back to Tavis. Let's talk about Tavis. So needless to say, my relationship with Cornell is stronger than it is with Tavis. But the thing is with Tavis, it ain't about the personalities. It's really about the issues. And on this particular issue with his thing with PBS, I remember reading about it, and I saw that his show was taken off the air. And I saw that Tavis, was being disciplined for misconduct on the job. Now, unlike a lot of people that get caught up in this mob mentality, my first mindset was not, oh, he must have done it. My mindset was not, oh, I'm going to just assume that whatever he did to lose his show must have been okay. I wanted to know what he did. I like to know the specifics of what's going on, So I was like, well, what did he do? Did he skin a kid in his office? Quincy, so it's a lot of noise. Did he like grab somebody's ass on the job? Did he rape someone? Did he like hoot and holler at women as they walk by and make horribly disrespectful comments about their bodies? Did he punch out his girlfriend? Did he, go and molest some children like so many of these other people do in Hollywood right now, which they are not talking about? They're not talking about all the molestation in Hollywood. That should be the next Me Too. You probably got a lot of little kids that need to be doing a Me Too campaign. And some of them are grown up now and they're talking, but the mainstream media is not listening. Why? Why is the mainstream media ignoring All the little former child stars who are saying, oh, that guy, oh, he raped me when I was 9. Oh, this guy, oh, he has a ring of children that he has sex with. Oh, this guy over here, he's a member of MAMBLA and the Man Boy Love Association. Why ain't they talking about that? Why is the media ignoring that? Because the media decides what it's going to focus on, right? I was on USA Today and I saw where USA Today had a little ad at the end of their articles that says, if you have ever been victimized, or if you have been harassed or victimized by someone in Hollywood, give us a call. So they set up a whole hotline. So to anybody and their mama, I could have picked up that phone and said, y'all don't know this, but Denzel Washington tried to grab my balls back in 1975, and it was traumatizing. Like, I literally could have picked up the phone and said that, and they would have. And then if they asked me, they called me up and say, well, where did it happen? I'd be like, well, it was at a party, and he probably don't remember it because he meets a lot of people, but he did. He grabbed my balls. I bet you anything that I will be in the media. I bet you anything that I will be on the front page of somebody's newspaper, because that's their agenda right now. And what's fascinating is that when people step up and they want to talk about something else, and they want to say, well, we know that there are, we know we got these white women that are telling you that somebody, some guy pinched a booty in 1982, or somebody told a dirty joke in the office in 1984, or whatever it is, and you're believing it as if it's gospel. You're acting on it as if it's true. You're acting on it with you're engaging in concrete action based on unproven allegations. Well, since you're doing that, we have about 40 million Black people who are the descendants of an entire community that's been raped, castrated, murdered, robbed, extorted, terrorized, and gone through all kinds of hell for the last 400 years, and have their property stolen. We can prove that. We got the evidence to show that. We have the documentation that proves that. We've got more than enough evidence. If you need proof, we can over deliver on that. We need y'all to go talk about that. Well, they don't want to talk about that. They're not going to talk about that. They want to debate that. They want to act like, oh, well, there's two sides to this, and there's good, like Donald Trump. There's good people on both sides. They kind of do the Donald Trump dance on that. But when you talk about some sort of allegation that's fuzzy as hell and unproven, oh, they will go ruin somebody's whole career over that. And I'm gonna tell you what, this is not just an attack that's unique to being sort of thrown at Black men, but Black men will be the first ones thrown under the bus on all of that. Just no different from when a Black college student is accused of raping a white woman. His chances of surviving that are 0 to none. It doesn't matter if she agreed to have sex with you. If she was drunk, then she can say that because I was drunk, you had no right to have sex with me, even if you were drunk too. So if you are drunk and I am drunk and I'm a white woman and you're a Black man and you're drunk and I'm drunk, I have no responsibility for the choices I made while I was drunk. You have complete responsibility for everything you decided to do when you were drunk, even if we had consensual sex. I mean, it's really fascinating. We now live in an era where consensual sex is now defined as rape. And I tell you, it's baffling to me. So, when I saw what happened with Tavis, all those thoughts kind of rang through my mind. I saw a lot of this weird sort of feminist extremism thrown in there. I'm all for women's rights. I don't support the feminist ideology. It's starting with Margaret Sanger. I mean, my God, you built your whole political ideological empire on the backs of a woman who said she wanted to exterminate Black people and get Black pastors to help her kill Black babies before they're born. Hey, what kind of dumbass nigga would I have to be to support that shit? Like, how retarded would I have to be to think that that's okay? How crazy would I have to be a Margaret Sanger fan when Margaret Sanger repeatedly and openly in a pure documented fashion said that she wanted Black people to be exterminated before they were born? I mean, you got to ask yourself that question. Seriously, I'm asking Black people who identify with this feminist ideology. I need you to understand there's more proof that Margaret Sanger wanted Black people exterminated than there is proof of most of these allegations that you're hearing coming out of Hollywood right now. A lot of these allegations are just he said, she said. It's people saying something that happened back then and then explaining that they were too intimidated to tell anybody, that they didn't go get a rape kit. They didn't go to the police. They didn't tell their friends, right? Okay, fine. We know how those dynamics work. We know that sometimes intimidation can cause you to make a mistake. And fine, okay, as you're saying, I don't want
bear the responsibility for my mistake. Other people need to bear the responsibility for my mistake. Okay, fine, do that. But there's more evidence to say that Margaret Sanger wanted Black people exterminated than there is evidence backing most of these allegations that are happening right now. So why is it that you have an easy time completely believing and not even questioning the fuzzy allegations, but you have no ability whatsoever to even grant any ounce of credibility to the well-documented, well-proven allegations? That pretty much says that you're playing politics. And if you don't think race and white supremacy plays a role in this, you're out of your damn mind. Tavis, and again, this is not, let me say this, I support what Tavis is doing with PBS, but that don't mean I support every single thing Tavis does. You know, Tavis, he's paying the price right now for trying to be, I don't know, just post-racial or transracial or what's the word, when you transcend your race. So, so Tavis is in that space. He's working with PBS. I'm not going to go work for PBS because I know there's not a big difference between, when it comes to racism, white liberals and white conservatives kind of feed you different versions of white supremacy. The white conservatives are pretty blatant, pretty disrespectful. They will let you know how they feel about you. The liberals will give you a little bit of support, but they kind of want to pimp you. They pretty much tell you, well, because we did these things for you, you need to then serve us. And if you do not serve us, then that makes you an ungrateful nigga. If you don't believe me, go watch how the liberals behave whenever Black people vote in a way that is not consistent with their agenda. So like if they run a gay rights campaign and Black people vote against it because they kind of they're not in lockstep with what the liberals think about the gay agenda or the LGBT stuff, they'll start talking about Black people like you're a pack of dogs. They'll start hiring Black surrogates that are in the media, the Michael Eric Dysons, the Melissa Harris Perrys, etc., to go out and talk bad about Black people in the Black church as if y'all are a bunch of ignorant Neanderthals. Like y'all just need to be civilized. Y'all need to stop being so homophobic and blah, 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 blah. And instead of seeing you as people who are intelligent Americans who are capable of having your own perspective and moving at your own pace, they see you as a bunch of dumbass backward people who need to be moved into the 21st century. So because I'll tell you what, I've been in a lot of Black churches, and the majority of the Black people I know who go to the Black church are not homophobic people. They just have their own ideology, their own perspective, their own relationship. They see it in a different way. They have a right to see it in a different way. So at the end of the day, Tavis was in that space, and it's all good. It's great because I mean, there's money there, right? Tavis, I don't know what his income is. I'm sure he's made millions of dollars every year for many, many years. God bless him. His show is all over the place. White folks control media, they control distribution. So we bow to the master. That's what we feel like we have to do because we don't feel like we have the ability to build anything on our own. That's a confidence issue. That's a confidence problem that you have, Black people. You don't believe you can do it yourself. So you feel like you have to be down with somebody in order to get ahead. I understand that. But at the same time, you get in that world, you start taking that money, you start becoming part of their systems and their structures, then you will play by their rules. So when they decide that they want to do the Me Too campaigns and half the shit don't make no sense, you're going to be sucked up by all of that. Because I dare them to do a Me Too campaign on me and try to somehow vilify me and call me names or whatever they want to call me, because that's what they do. They label. They like to label you in their social engineering. So you don't agree with the gay agenda, or we're going to call you a homophobe. No, I'm not a homophobe. I support equality for all Americans, but you will be defined that way if you don't agree with their agenda. So that's their way of passive aggressive bullying. They engage in passive aggressive bullying, lots of name calling, lots of labeling to somehow shame you into going lockstep with what they say. So what they're really saying is, they're saying, look, nigga, we have power. And if you don't support what the hell we want you to do, then we will ruin you. We will tear you shred by shred. We will wear you out on Twitter. We will talk bad about you. We're not going to really logically hear what you're saying and respond to you in the way an intelligent person would, with debate and facts and information, because we ain't got all of that. We don't need facts. We have power. See, people that have power don't need facts. They don't need the rules. It's like when your mama, remember when you were little and you would have a debate with your mama. Anybody hit the heart button of the shit, like, but if you ever got into like heated debates with your mama, or your daddy, right? Have you ever done that? Like when you in a debate with your mama, somebody tell me what they know what I'm talking about. Like say something or whatever. Because I used to do this, right? You ever have that time when you're debating with your mama, right? And your mama's like, you're like, Mama, can we go to McDonald's? And she's like, we can't go to McDonald's. We got to be at the church by 6 o'clock. And you're like, but no, Mama, it's only 5:15 and McDonald's is only a mile away and it's on the way to the church. No, we can't go because if we stop, it's going to take too long. No, Mama, last time we went to McDonald's, it only took 3 minutes to get through the drive-thru because I read an article that said McDonald's has one of the most efficient food processing systems in the country. And I bet you if we drive by, those lines will be pretty short. And if the line's short, does that mean that we can stop? And you start winning the argument, right? And your mama starts getting pissed off, right? What is your mama going to say? Like, because she can't argue with you based on facts anymore. She has no facts. You won. What's she going to say? She's gonna say, well, we're not stopping. You're gonna be like, well, why? And she's gonna say, because I said so. She's gonna pull out that trump card and slam it on the table like you slam the card down when you play spades back in college, right? Or dominoes, like dominoes, motherfucker, right? She's basically saying to you that we're going to do it my way because I have more power than you, because I said so, because I'm the boss and you're not. This house is not a democracy. Anybody ever have parents that said stuff like that to them? This household is not a democracy. It's a dictatorship because I said so. So what you got to understand, Black people, is that the liberals that you love so much, the ones that you feel are your best shot of having any voice in America, they pretty much are like your parents. They pretty much are like, look, we fed you when nobody else fed you. Like your mama did. We clothed you when nobody else would clothe you, like your mama did. We give you shelter like your mama did. We give you jobs because Lord knows y'all can't create your own jobs because y'all like children. And because we did all of that, you are eternally indebted to us. You better do what we said, not because it makes sense, not because it's the right thing to do, not because it's consistent with your values, but because we said so. A child in their parents' house does not have the right to have an agenda. The children can't really have much of an agenda that doesn't go and flow with the agenda of their parents. So Black people are incapable most of the time of forming their own perspective on almost anything if it does not meet the approval of their political parents. So what I'm trying to say to you, my perception, my opinion, is that you must reject that shit. You got to let that go. You got to see it for what it is and just say, it doesn't mean that you can't have a good relationship with the white liberals. I mean, my God, they're so much better than the Donald Trumps of the world. We know this, right? But there's a difference between a partnership and a subordinated occupation in which they're pretty much setting the tone for everything that happens in this partnership. It's like when my baby brother hit me hard one time when he was about 22 years old, and he said something to me. He said, we were in business together way back when. This is back when we weren't making no money. It was back in the early days of the struggle. So if you were in the early days of the struggle of your business, just keep going. It gets better because we was in the struggle. And he said something. So he would ask me to do stuff, and I'd be like, I don't know if we have the money's tight, blah 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 blah. And I would, but when I wanted to do something, it was like, oh well, we should do this, and he'd be like, okay, right? And because I was the older brother, he was the little brother. And one day he just flat out said to me, he said it very politely, but he said, it seems like when you want to do, he said, well, when I want to do something, we kind of think about it. We have to figure out if it's the right thing to do. But if you want to do something, we just kind of do it. And that's when I started thinking, I said, oh my God, I am an asshole. And the thing is, I love my baby brother. I love him more than anything. I changed his diapers when he was little. I have his back. I died for that guy. He's still my partner, my homeboy, number one, ace. My ace. I'm not gonna say ace boom coon like we used to say when we were little, because that's a horrible thing to say, right? He's my homeboy though, my buddy. And I loved him, but yet I still, put him in a subordinated position. So sometimes the liberals, they love you, like they might really like you. They like your music and your food, and they will help. They'll pay for little things for you to have fun, like Congressional Black Caucus events and stuff. Like they'll sponsor your little initiatives and everything. They like you kind of like the way they like their pets. They really love their pets, right? But there's a difference between somebody liking you and somebody really thinking of you as an equal. And so when my brother became more of a man, I started realizing that our partnership had to evolve, that it wasn't about what Boyce wanted all the time. I had to make sure I respected him as an equal stakeholder. Now, I gave him that power partly, but he partly took it, right? And now imagine if we had that similar relationship and I didn't actually really truly love him, though. Like, that's the thing. Like, imagine if it was just some kid I just picked up off the street, to come work for me. That would be a very different dynamic. So what I'm saying to you is that when it comes to politics, when it comes to the way a lot of the liberals look at black people, you're kind of like that kid they picked up off the street who was pathetic. He was eating out of garbage cans, and they brought him into their home so that he could maybe like clean the house or something in exchange for room and board. And so at the end of the day, no matter how nice somebody is to you, they always know who the more powerful party is. So if you really want to have real power in terms of how you interact with people, you got to know the value of having something of your own. It's kind of like what I say to my girls. As women, I say, go for the man that's got the money, go for the man that's got the power, go for the man that's got the status, but just always have a little something of your own. Because if he kind of knows you always got a little something of your own, he's not going to treat you the exact same way he would treat you as if you had nowhere to go, if you had nothing to fall back on, if you had no support anywhere. So keep your family in the back, keep your little money in your purse, keep your little career and your skill set on the side, get your little business built up, but then also say, you know what, sweetie, I'll take your money too. If you want to buy me dinner, I'll let you buy me dinner anytime you want. But at the same time, he knows the difference between a woman who needs him to buy her dinner versus a woman who could buy dinner of her own. I think that's really, really important. So I say for black people, it's the same thing. I will sit down with any person, even people who don't like me. I don't care. Like the same way when Malcolm X sat down with the KKK members, he didn't have a problem with that because he wasn't sitting around getting all distressed over what they think of him. He's like, yeah, I know you don't like me. I don't like you either, but that doesn't matter. What matters is whether or not we have some sort of common interest or whether we can negotiate, do business or whatever. That's what matters. So stop worrying about what people think about you. Start worrying about what you think about yourself and build a little something of your own so you have some strength. You can start with building businesses. Then you go on and you build your own media so that when the Tavis Smileys of the world are looking for jobs, we can hire them at legitimate black-owned companies. When the Colin Kaepernicks are looking for jobs, we're not complaining about the fact that Colin Kaepernick has no job. He's never going to have a job. I don't really know if anybody cares that Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job other than the people who support Colin Kaepernick. But what if black people were industrious and instead of spending trillions of dollars every year on nonsense, we spent $1 trillion buying a football or creating a football league, right? Or what if we were all investment minded and we had 20 million young people who were trained on building businesses and we all supported those businesses and we were in economic lockstep and supporting each other's entities? We could easily support a Colin Kaepernick. We could easily employ him and 1,000 others like him. So that's what I'm really saying to you is you got to have something of your own, because the thing with Tavis is, I don't know what Tavis has going on. I'm sure Tavis is going to be fine. Tavis is, that brother's sharp. He's sharp. He's smart. He's articulate. He's smooth. I watched his little interview. I said, damn, this brother, they messed with the wrong one. He's really ready to deal with all this. I think he's going to be fine. But at the same time, there's a big part of me that looks at him and says, wow, he's another black man who's surrounded. He's surrounded. He's not really, he's in the community, but not really. He's not really in there like the rest of us, right? He's kind of over there doing his thing with PBS, and PBS is hanging him out to dry. And then what happens then is that not only does PBS, drop his show over these unproven allegations and this innuendo and this speculation, but then other people start acting on, how can I say this? There's concrete, very real action that is based upon very fuzzy data, very fuzzy accusations, very, very weak evidence, right? So you're making you have very real implications based on, arbitrary, potentially imaginary accusations. And then other people engage in more real, the cascade effect starts. The liberals are good at that. They're really good at kind of like this lynch mob bandwagon behavior. So then other people start following suit. They're like, well, shoot. If PBS ended his show, then that must really mean that Tavis must have really done something. So next thing you know, he loses a book deal with Walmart. So then somebody else says, oh, well, if Walmart dropped him, then it must be real. And Walmart and PBS dropped him. My God, then we need to drop him too. So next thing you know, somebody else drops him. And then even Indiana University, where he gave them a bunch of money and all this other stuff, they're deciding whether or not they want to take his name off of one of their buildings because nobody wants to be connected with somebody who has this stain on their name. So Tavis is doing what any intelligent person would do, which is he's out in the media defending his reputation. God bless him. I hope he wins that battle. You're surrounded though. Again, there's a lot of things that people could say about me, a lot of things people do say about me, and I just really don't care because it doesn't affect my day-to-day life. It doesn't affect what I do. It doesn't affect my business. It doesn't affect the people I'm talking to, because I talk to you deliberately because I know that you understand where I'm coming from. Even if you don't agree with me, you at least have at least enough respect to at least hear my perspective and maybe figure out where we might agree and where we might disagree, but we still walk away friends. Those are the only people I want to talk to. I don't want to be on CNN. I don't want to be at PBS because they're going to turn me into whatever the hell else they turn black men into when they go to Hollywood and they get it mixed up in this so-called diverse space. But what happens is we start chasing in waterfalls. Y'all remember when it was TLC? My cousin T-Boz, I like to brag that she's my cousin. Our grandfathers are brothers. So Tiana, if you are ever, somebody asked her, are you related to Dr. Boyce Watkins? She said, no. Go check it, girl. Your grandfather, I think his name was Sam, is the brother of my grandfather, Matt. So that's where the connection is. So our grandfathers are brothers. Go look it up. So anyway, remember she used to say, don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. Well, that's kind of a good metaphor for life. I think, it's really like, don't go chasing white supremacy. Stick to the black people that you're used to. Stick to the place where you're safe. It's okay to do business with black people and to remain in a space where you have backup and support. I can get on the phone and have 100 black men that I think will really literally go out and whoop somebody's ass on my behalf. Some of them might even kill for me, and that makes me feel good. I feel safe in that environment. I don't want to be out here on an island by myself, surrounded, looking like OJ. So I'm not black, I'm OJ, and next thing you know, they done strung my ass up. So at the end of the day, I think Tavis is going to defend himself really well, but I think that I'm hoping that, in his next move, that maybe he just shifts his brand. Maybe he gets affiliated with a brand that's a little blacker, a little more authentic, a little more connected to the community. And then that way, if you really mess up, like if you really hurt some women or you really do something that's disrespectful or something that's not consistent with our values, then it's going to be a problem. But, this other stuff isn't going to work. Because notice, pay attention. When PBS was talking about Tavis, one of the main things that they said was that they didn't really say, like, it'd be one thing. You can't defend him if they said, well, we have evidence that he raped somebody. I'd be like, man, I'm sorry, I can't help you, right? But they literally said he engaged in workplace conduct that's inconsistent with the values of PBS. See, that's one of the subtle ways white supremacy works. White supremacy is not just about somebody calling you the N-word or somebody disliking you because you're black. What it's about is a cultural and political, sociological, economic, and ideological imperialism where one person or one party's values trump the other party's values. It's like if you live in my house and I say, I hate the color green. I do not want the color green anywhere in my house. And green is your favorite color. And you say, hey, Boyce, I know you got me living in the basement. And I just want you to know I brought in this new vase and I'm going to put it in my room and it's green. And I'm going to be like, no, get that out of here. And you'll be like, why? I mean, there's nothing wrong with the vase. I mean, it's pretty. Don't you like it? It's got flowers. I'm like, no, get that shit out of here. It's green. I hate green. Green is evil. And you're like, well, why? No, green isn't evil. What are you talking? No. Either you get the vase out of here or you get out. Because what you're doing, what you're bringing into this home is inconsistent with the values of Boyce Watkins and what I want on my property. So you get that green thing out of here. So it ain't about right or wrong. See, I can make it, if you're naive, if you're small-minded, I can make you think it's all about right or wrong. Like, yeah, of course he got fired. I mean, my God, who would bring a green vase into a house, right? You would think that way. That's what they do. They try to get black folks on this whole like, oh, well, it's not because you're black. It's because you engaged in behavior that was inconsistent with the values of the corporation. Well, who set those damn values in the first place? I mean, who was at the table when we decided what our values were going to be? There weren't no black people at that damn table. Our people didn't decide what those values would be. If black people were really running America, America would be a whole different country. It'd probably be a better country. It'd be a fairer country. It would be a stronger country. But no, our values aren't shaping the way this nation goes. It's somebody else's values, and those people are crazy. I'm saying that if you want to know why ownership matters and things like that, it's because ownership allows you to shape the values of the organization and to make it into the image that you want it to have. So when I talk about Boyce Watkins Enterprises, I tell them we have a list, literally in our company, we have a list of core values, the things we believe in. We believe, for example, in the Black Core of 3, Black people should educate our own children, we should build our own businesses, and we should support Black businesses. Educate our children, create our own jobs, support Black businesses. We do those 3 things, we're going to rise as a community. Those things, if you don't believe in those things, then that's fine. You can go. There's probably another business down the street that believes something else. So anyway, let me pull up some. I want to show you guys or go through some of what Tavis was saying, what PBS said. It was really interesting because PBS really was firing back. Like they were getting kind of ghetto with them. So this is going to be messy. I think that they are worried about protecting their reputation. So what they're going to do is they're going to try to destroy his. They're going to really go at him. So I hope Tavis is ready for that. By the way, if you haven't done so yet, please hit the like button real quick, the share button, subscribe button, throw up some hearts and some likes and some shares or something like that. And show some love for the podcast and what we got going on here at Intellectual Chocolate. Also, if you want to subscribe to the podcast, please visit intellectualchocolate.com. That's intellectualchocolate.com. Give me a second, guys. Let me pull this up. And while I pull this up, I want to tell you all what I've been telling students. I've been telling my students. Now, let me know, first of all, if you're on Facebook, are you able to hear clearly and everything? Because I got a button kind of moving. Wait, she says, I love you, Dad. Oh, I thought you were my daughter for real. Oh, well, I love you too, sweetie. I appreciate you very much. Thank you. Let me see here. So tell me if you're able to hear me on Facebook. I want to make sure. Okay, Monique says she can hear me. Hey, Monique, how you doing? That's one of my little girls. Love her so much. Okay, you can be heard clearly. Okay, on Facebook. Okay, good. All right, great. I just want to make sure I'm coming through okay. Because you know how sometimes I'll get started and I'll just be talking and y'all won't be hearing nothing and I'll be looking stupid. Okay, so let me see. So Tavis was on Good Morning America this week. They have an image of Ann Coulter. I guess that was one of the people that he interviewed. I don't know. That's the weird thing, right? Like you work for TV at PBS, you're interviewing people like Ann Coulter. Why? What's the value of interviewing Ann Coulter? There's no value and no intrinsic value. It's all about TV ratings or whatever. So anyway, let me read this. It says, talk show host Tavis Smiley defended himself again against sexual harassment allegations today, saying PBS made a huge mistake here. PBS suspended the distribution of his eponymous talk show earlier this month after an investigation noting, quote, multiple credible allegations. Now remember, pay attention, let's listen to those 3 words, multiple credible allegations, right? So they're kind of bolstering their case, but they're not really giving enough specifics to allow you to even know what it might be. Like, but when you say multiple, you're saying, oh, it's not just one person, it's many people. But again, if many people are giving you an allegation that doesn't, like 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is like what, 6, right? But that ain't 36, right? So if 30 or more is what you need in order for the allegation to be serious, and then you can't say I've got 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 because that still ain't 36. Right. So ultimately, my point is that a whole bunch of very weak allegations that he did something that was not inappropriate doesn't add up to anything. But they said multiple credible allegations, meaning that lots of people said it, that we really believe it. They're not giving the benchmark on what credibility means. Does that mean they got pictures, video, like what, like a rape kit, like show me some multiple credible, elements of proof. And then they say allegations. Allegations of what? Again, like is an allegation of murder? Did Tavis Smiley murder somebody? If he did that, then my God, put him in prison. All right. So anyway, let me keep going. The network confirmed to ABC News in a statement. A PBS spokesperson added, PBS engaged an outside law firm to conduct an investigation immediately after learning the troubling allegations regarding Mr. Smiley. This investigation included interviews with witnesses as well as Mr. Smiley. The inquiry uncovered multiple credible allegations of conduct. Now let's pay attention. Let's study this. Let's pay attention to what they're saying. See, they don't expect Black people to be analytical. They expect us to hoot and holler and scream in church and all that. But we do have some people capable of analysis that is deeper than what they can do, apparently. Let's see. So the inquiry uncovered multiple credible allegations of conduct that is inconsistent with the values and standards of PBS. Again, very ambiguous, right? And the totality of this information led to today's decision. So you took a bunch of ambiguous information and you made a very concrete decision, okay? Now, if you made an ambiguous decision, you say, well, we thought about possibly ending his show, but we didn't actually do nothing, but we were just thinking about it because we kind of found some allegations of some stuff that might or might not happen. I mean, that to me would make sense. But when you say I've got a lot of really fuzzy information, but I'm going to engage in really concrete action, that's like trying to turn a rain cloud into a rock. That's like on the left side of your equation, again, you got 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 192. You can't do that. You can't do, that's the scale of justice, like mathematics. You have to have that balance. The left side must equal the right side. So anyway, let me keep going. So it said, during a live sit-down interview on Good Morning America today, Smiley 53 reiterated that, quote, I've never groped, I've never coerced women into sexual relations on his staff in 30 years over 6 different networks. So he says, I've never groped, I've never coerced. Okay. So that means I've never touched them when they didn't want to be touched. I never forced them to do something that they did not want to do, etc. So again, if you believe in, in women's equality, and even if you're a feminist, I would argue that you would probably agree with me that a woman is fully capable of deciding who she wants to have sex with. This whole idea that somehow men have a magical superpower where we can hypnotize women into having sex with us, I mean, excluding the use of drugs or whatever, trying to like get her into a certain mind state. This idea that we have some magical power to seduce women without the use of drugs or alcohol is very disturbing. It is also very contradictory to the alleged empowerment of the women's rights movement, right? I mean, if you believe women are powerful and they can do anything men can do, well, I know as a man, anytime I got fucked, physically or otherwise, I always had the ability to say no. If there was never a time where I had sex and I said, well, you know what, she just tricked me into it. She told me her vagina was a jar of peanut butter and she knows I like peanut butter and she fooled me into entering her vagina and I wouldn't have done it if she hadn't played her Jedi mind tricks on me. She's like Luke Skywalker or something. I don't know how they do it, right? Like it would sound stupid. I sound like an idiot. People would say, well, Boyce, if you didn't want to sleep with her, you shouldn't have done it, right? So what's interesting is that when you go look at the allegations against Matt Lauer, they paint this picture of this poor, innocent, helpless young intern who chose to have sex with him in the dressing room, in the closet, in the back room, wherever. Like there's no sort of possibility that maybe she wanted to sleep with him. Again, if Matt had raped her, then my God, send him to prison. But you don't think 24-year-olds have sex, that you don't think a 24-year-old woman can't be an aggressor sexually? You don't think a 24 and 23-year-old, however old she was, I don't know what her age was exactly, but she was like in her 20s, mid-20s. You don't think that they get horny? You don't think that they're not at the peak of their reproductive stage of their life? They literally, their bodies are on fire a lot of times. A lot of young people, that's, when you're 24, 25, people get older, they say, well, we're trying to get pregnant. When you're in your mid-20s, you spend every weekend trying not to get pregnant because everybody's just, their hormones are through the roof. You don't think that a 24, 25-year-old woman isn't capable of saying, I want to have sex? I think I want to be with that man right there, and I'm going to let him know in no uncertain terms that I want to sleep with him. And if he says yes to me, to my persistent advances, I can still be the victim? How does that happen? I'm not 12. I mean, if you're 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, absolutely. But you're 24, my God, at what point are you able to choose who you're sleeping with? At what point do the Jedi mind tricks stop working, right? And so you just go, you just go deeper, and I just think about that, and it's really kind of weird to me that, the Matt Lauer allegations really were disturbing because I didn't see anything that he did other than have sex with a younger woman who was probably attracted to him the same way millions of other young women have been attracted to older, powerful men. My God, Matt Lauer was a good-looking dude who had more money than Jesus, and he was one of the most powerful men in the entire country. Don't you think that maybe there might have been a couple of women who thought he was kind of hot? Again, but of course, he's the predator, right? Because he said yes, whatever. All right, so anyway, let me keep going. This is what Tavis said. Tavis added, quote, I celebrate and applaud these women who have the courage to come out. but he's concerned that because of the recent climate, quote, people end up being guilty simply by accusations. And he's damn right. He's 100% on the money. And I'm gonna tell you, the people that really started pushing the Me Too movement, I think they end up shooting themselves in the foot. I bet you there are people within the Me Too movement who are saying, chill out, stop. You know, it's almost like black people. When you have a black person, you ever see a black person who cries racism every time they do something stupid? Like anytime anything happens, they get locked up, they're like, oh, that was racism. You ever want to just like smack black people like that upside the head and be like, no, it wasn't racism. You really did like steal like that bag of cookies. Like you really did like punch that cop when you had no reason to do so, right? You really did like break in that lady's house. Like stop acting like it's all racism, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like I bet you in the Me Too movement, they have people like that too, where they're saying, look, you can't sit here and claim that you can't use this movement, this righteous movement, to protect victims of very serious sexual violations. You can't use this movement as your chance to settle personal vendettas. You can't use this movement as your chance to explain away everything you've done sexually that might be regrettable. You can't use this as a way to get revenge on every man in your life who's ever disappointed you. My God, I can't imagine living in a world where I can literally go back and find every woman who's hurt my feelings in the last 25 years and say something about her that will ruin everything she's got going on in her life. That is a hell of a lot of power. I mean, when people talk about this war on women, I heard somebody say, and they said this is pretty accurate. She said the war on women is over and women won. Women, right now, the women are the ones who are scared to death, looking over their shoulder, worried that when they open their mouth, somebody might see it the wrong way. It's the men who are scared to death. It's the men who are being taken out and neutered. So I personally think that, just requesting fairness and decency, maybe that's too much for some people. Again, politics is a dirty game. There's no such thing as decency in politics half the damn time. There's no such thing as a search for truth. I would just say, though, that people who have common sense should just look at this and kind of say, well, wait a minute, could every single allegation always be taken as true without any sort of investigation, like thorough investigation? Like, do we believe every person who accuses somebody of something, or do we sort of look into it? If I ask for an investigation, I ask for more information, and I just sort of ask that the accused get a chance to defend themselves. Am I really victim blaming, or am I actually doing something that might be fair? Right? So anyway, Smiley says Smiley says that he had relationships with women while working on the Tavis Smiley Show. He said, adding he can prove that they were consensual with letters, cards, gifts, and certainly photographs. So Tavis is doing something the PBS has been unable to do. He's saying, I got evidence. And he shouldn't even be the one having to provide the evidence. I mean, we're supposed to be in a country where people are innocent till proven guilty. So the burden of proof should be on the accuser, not on the accused. But he's actually saying, look, I'm going to go ahead and make that extra step of saying, I got letters, cards, gifts, pictures, text messages, whatever it is. I mean, and here's the thing. I'm going to just tell y'all a secret. I know people who know people who know people, and I know Tavis. He's having far more girlfriends than me. Maybe I'm jealous of that, right? He's tall and he's a good-looking dude. And he's got a lot of money, and the ladies have always liked Tavis, and I think Tavis liked the ladies too. I'm just gonna be real with you. I think I've known it's when you know more than one person who's dated a particular person, then you kind of know, wow, he must really have a way with the ladies. I've never been smooth. I can't, it took me, I can start talking to girls till I was 30. But Tavis, Tavis has his thing, right? And the question becomes, do I have the right to judge him based on that? Like, do I have the right to, believe that he should be ruined for this? No. I mean, again, if he's raping people, yeah, I'm gonna talk bad about him. If Tavis is, harassing women and treating women the way I've seen certain rappers treat women, yeah, I'm gonna talk bad about him. If he's running around calling women bitches and hoes and everything else, yeah, I'm gonna talk bad about him. If he's going out here and he's made 28 kids with 24 women, then yeah, I'm gonna talk bad about him. If he's got a bunch of babies, he ain't paying no child support, yeah, I'm gonna talk bad about him. But do I talk bad about him for what he chooses to do with his body? No, I don't have a right to do that, right? Because that's what the feminists also said too. You have no right to slut shame Tavis Smiley. You have no right to tell him what he can do with his body, right? You have no right. So at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. You know, Tavis might have a new girlfriend every week, but that's between him and the women that he chooses to be with, period. So let me keep reading. So he says, quote, I certainly understand people can have a viewpoint. Any consensual relationship in the workplace is wrong. So he's saying, I understand people can believe that dating somebody you work with is bad, but there are also other points of view on this. I like that. I like the way he laid it. Again, I told y'all, Tavis is smooth. I mean, he's dressed up all, he's sharp, and you know, his $5,000 suit, and he's making his case. He says, while we don't encourage them, we don't forbid them. So he then says, so it says the talk show host added that during those relationships, he never instructed the team who runs his company on any employment matters. He says, quote, I never gave any favoritism upward or downward, he said. So he never gave favoritism to anybody he slept with. And again, I guess that's something that has to be proven or not proven. But what's really interesting is that kind of sometimes runs in contrast to human nature. I know that most women I know that if their husband is the boss of the company, they usually will not expect to be treated, their husband, boyfriend, whatever, they don't expect to be treated the same as everybody else. You know, and same thing, if I'm a man and my girlfriend or wife is the boss and she's running things, and she says, well, I gotta be fair, so I'm gonna treat you the same as I treat that guy over there, I might feel some kind of way, right? But he says he never gave any favoritism, and if they can't prove it, then that's their issue. Smiley also pushed back on claims that he has created a hostile work environment, saying, quote, I have feelings, I have emotions, and when balls get dropped, I guess he says he's had to pick it back up. Okay, so again, that's another thing. You know, I'll say that I've heard about Tavis's temper. Tavis does have a temper, but you know, I can say I also have a temper. You know, I think that when you believe in excellence and you want your company to be the best that it can be, you go off sometimes. You know, and a lot of y'all know that. You know, if you've ever won a football championship, you probably went off on your team because they weren't playing right. If you've ever tried to get through, you know, through school and you worked with a study group and they were BSing, you probably went off, right? So again, I'm not trying to say Tavis though is an angel, though. Maybe Tavis needs to check that. Maybe that's something he needs to deal with. I would be willing to bet you, though, at the same time, I'm willing to bet you that some of these vendettas that are being sort of driven on Tavis. I mean, believe me, this is definitely a witch hunt. Somebody's really trying to take him down. I've seen hit pieces against Tavis. A lot of this probably could have been avoided had you treated certain people a little bit better along the way. So that's something between Tavis Smiley and Tavis Smiley. He's going to have to kind of confront that. You can't, no matter how big you get, you can't go shitting on people every other day and think that it's not going to come back to get you. The chickens do come home to roost. So he says, PBS made a huge mistake here. They need to fix it. They need to correct it, he said. I'm going to do anything to protect my reputation. So that's pretty much his way of saying I'm going to sue y'all's asses. Okay, so here's the part. So anyway, before I move on, do me a favor. If you are anyone on social media or you're watching this anywhere, please take 1 second right now and hit the subscribe button. If you have not subscribed, or hit the follow button or the share button, the like button, stuff like that, hearts, thumbs ups, all that, please show us some love for the podcast. It's called Intellectual Chocolate. You can actually subscribe full-time at intellectualchocolate.com. If you ever want to get text notifications of different things that we're working on, you can actually text the word Boyce to the number 31996. The number is 31996. You can text the word Boyce to 31996. And so what I'll do is I will type in the URL real quick while you guys hit the subscribe button or the follow button. All right, so I'm typing it in on Facebook. So now you guys have it right there. So feel free to subscribe at intellectualchocolate.com. All right, so anyway, moving on. So here's where it got real interesting. It really got kind of gangster at this point. Like I can see PBS. They got some people in the back room that are really mad, that are throwing stuff at the wall right now. And so PBS responded to Smiley. They're not used to fighting the way black people fight. Like I think they did that to Charlie Rose. Charlie Rose was like, okay, I'm gonna graciously step away so I don't make a scene. Like if you mess up with what a black man has worked for his whole life, oh, he gonna make a scene. He gonna go out. He gonna become a suicide bomber on your ass. He gonna take out everybody and everything, kill every secret, whatever. Black women too. And I'm sorry. I think part of it could be cultural. I don't know. I know I did that when I was at Syracuse University, and they tried to somehow say certain things about me. I said, oh no. In fact, I sacrificed myself. The reporters started calling me about, the whole controversy. You can go Google if you want to read about it. I'm not going to reiterate it all. But I literally said, I said, okay, they're doing, I said, I understand you're calling to try to find out who's right, who's wrong. You're trying to find out if I was really qualified for the promotion and they screwed me, or if I'm just a lazy black person who didn't do his job. I said, so let's assume I'm not qualified. Let's take me out of the equation totally and just assume I don't deserve this job. Let's assume I'm just not good enough. I said, now what I want you to do is I want you to go back and I want you to look at their track record, look at their hiring record. I need you to go ask them honest, legitimate questions. When the truth is on your side, you ain't got nothing to fear. When the truth is on your side, it becomes an easy argument. All you got to do is uncover the facts. So I said, go and I want you to go look at how many black people they've hired, how many black people they've promoted, how many black people they've actually given any promotion in the history of this department. You'll find zero. So I need you to go ask them, well, why is that the case? So, so let's take me out. So ultimately what happened was my mindset was, I know I'm done. I just by opening my mouth, I knew I was blackballed. I knew a lot of white universities weren't going to mess with me, and it was okay. I'm good. I was one of the best students in my class when I got my PhD. I know my shit. Just being real with you, I know my stuff, and I knew that I could figure something else out, and it was going to be okay. But what I did not want was, I said, I'm not going to sit here and play this game with you. I'm not going to sit here and quietly allow you to molest me in the dark and somehow have me remain silent because, I'm scared of being blackballed. That ain't gonna happen, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna keep doing, you're gonna do it to somebody else after me and somebody else and somebody else, because black people are scared. We're afraid. We're like, oh my God, what's gonna happen if I lose this job, or my industry won't hire me? A lot of people in Hollywood go through that. They're afraid of being blackballed. That's why I tell you that if you wanna raise children that are really empowered, what you gotta do right now is very, very basic. Do this with your kids. Make sure your children understand, number one, how to invest. They should be investing in stocks and bonds, crypto, real estate, and ownership of a business. So that leads to the number two thing. Make sure they take a class on how to start a business. Make sure they also take a class on real estate. Make sure they take a class on investing in stocks and bonds, because and then after they do all that, teach them also how to develop an institution, how to develop structure. There's a professor, Shauna Etienne, who teaches in the Black Business School, who teaches a class literally on how to structure an organization, how to come up with procedures and protocols and structure and delegation and everything, and accountability processes, so that you can run an organization. Because these same businesses that you work for, these same businesses can be built. You can build a business like that. You just may not be able to build a $20 billion company right off the bat, but you can build to a $20,000 company that can feed you and your family to keep you off the plantation long enough for you to figure out what your next step's going to be. You understand? In the beginning, when you first get started, you're trying to I remember being in survival mode where I was just like, man, I just need to figure out how to make sure I don't get evicted. Like, that was literally my mindset. So if you know how to develop structure, you know how to start a business, build an organization, you know how to invest, you learn how to at least make it through survival mode so you can then get to prosperity mode. So if you teach that to your kids, then they're not going to be all wild and overwhelmed when somebody offers them a job. They're going to be thinking, well, how do I become the person who can create jobs for other people? That's what they're going to think. So anyway, let me keep going. So more about this statement. So PBS responded to Smiley's appearance on GMA, writing in a statement, quote, Tavis Smiley needs to get his story straight, right? That sounds like a beef, right? Like, that sounds like an ex-wife or something, right? You don't expect that from a corporation, right? Or whatever they are. I know they're a nonprofit. They get donations and government funding or whatever, but I don't know. I assume they run like a corporation. They're pretty big. So they said, Tavis Smiley needs to get his story straight. So they said, first of all, I'm being stupid. They said, first, today on Good Morning America, Mr. Smiley acknowledged he had multiple sexual encounters with his employees, then struggled to recall the number of current employees with whom he has had sex. So I guess again, now here's the thing. They're trying to make this about Tavis Smiley's sexuality. It ain't about slut shaming Tavis Smiley. I don't care if he fucked 14 people this morning. That's not anybody's business but his, right? But they're trying to make this about something other than what it's about. The question is, did he do anything that in any way is a fireable offense, an offense that should have him off the air, should have you discriminate against him like you do pretty much every other black person on the planet. I mean, most of those shows on PBS ain't run by black people. Right? So I ain't trying to get a job at PBS, but I'm sure somebody watching is, and some of y'all probably apply for jobs at PBS and can't get them because they're like every other white company. They hire nothing but white folks, right? So now I'm not going to work for them, but I want you guys to get those opportunities if that's what you want. So anyway, so they said that he struggled to recall the number of current employees with whom he's had sex. They said that he acknowledged he has multiple sexual encounters with his employees. Okay, so you've established that he's had sex with more than one person that he works with. Okay, all right, okay, that doesn't, okay, whatever. This contradicts his Facebook post from last week where he cited only one previous relationship with an employee. Not true. If you go back and you pay close attention to what Tavis said, Tavis made a statement about having a consensual relationship with someone in the past, but I do not think, unless I'm wrong, I do not think, again, unless I'm wrong, unless I misread it, I don't think Tavis said I've only had one. I think Tavis was making a general point that, you know, that it doesn't make any sense that you can be persecuted for a relationship that you had in the past with somebody that you work with as long as it's consensual. So anyway, so moving forward, they said, Mr. Smiley even told viewers, quote, "I don't know where your heart's going to lead you." And he said, PBS is certain. Oh, wait, okay, sorry. This is, they're quoted, they're laying out the quote here. They said, Mr. Smiley even told viewers, quote, "I don't know where your heart's going to lead you," end quote. PBS is certain that it should not lead to multiple sexual relationships between the owner of a company and subordinates over many years, particularly where employment decisions may be linked to sex. Okay, again, you're saying may be linked to sex. You don't know that for sure, so you can't prove it. So why are you bringing this up? You know, when you're leaning on things you can't really prove, that means you really don't have much to lean on. Also, PBS is certain that it should not lead. Okay, so what they're saying is that as a company, they don't believe that you should have multiple sexual relationships between the owner of a company and your subordinates over many years. Okay. Now, here's what's really interesting to me. What I really gather here, in fact, let me keep reading and I'll tell you what I'm really reading here in between the lines. I have magical Negro vision where I can see where white people are acting white and they're really trying to like use the race card against you, but they're not really blatantly doing it because they're liberals and they're not supposed to be racist. But let me tell you where the race issue pops in. Because again, a lot of white liberals do not like black men. They have no respect for black men. They think black men ain't nothing but pathetic Neanderthals, etc. So listen to this. Second, Mr. Smiley claims he applauds women who have come forward, yet his company requires current and former employees to sign non-disclosure agreements. Yeah, that's because he doesn't want you out here telling all his business. Ain't nothing wrong with having people sign NDAs. I sign NDAs for my students who bring me business ideas. We have people sign NDAs because we don't want you telling all of our trade secrets. There's nothing wrong with a non-disclosure agreement. Just because you're telling people that you don't want them telling all your business, that doesn't mean that you're doing something unethical or illegal. So again, they're leaning on nothingness because they have nothing to lean on. Witnesses who have bravely come forward to speak with the independent investigators retained by PBS report a fear of retribution for speaking out. Again, you're saying bravely come forward, but they may have a vendetta. So maybe they're not brave. Maybe they're cowards. You don't know that. Again, you don't know these things. PBS stands by its decision to respect the anonymity of those who are afraid to come forward publicly. So what you're saying is that you're violating his right to due process by not even letting him face his accusers. You're telling this person, you're saying you've been accused of, you know, many unnamed ambiguous acts that we can't recite right now. But and again, you're not Tavis because he couldn't recite the women that he had been with, but you can't even recite what you're accusing him of. So you're saying we're going to make these vague accusations against you from people that, well, we're not going to tell you their names. We're not going to let you defend yourself or anything. You know, but yet somehow Tavis is supposed to be the bad guy. It doesn't make any sense. So let me keep going. So it says PBS stands by its decision to respect the anonymity of those who are afraid to come forward publicly. Well, you can respect an anonymity, but you must also respect his right to due process. You can't show respect on one side and not show respect on the other. Remember, you can't sort of support the rights of one person if it is done in such a way that it violates the rights of someone else. I cannot say, well, my way of elevating myself as a black man is that I want to enslave every white person that I meet. Y'all enslaved us, we need to enslave y'all. Y'all lynched us, we need to lynch y'all, because it's our right to have our freedom by putting you in the same slavery that you put us in for 400 years. We're not going to do that. We're not built that way. And it would be wrong. If I tried to do that, I would have a million black people telling me, Boyce, you can't do that. That's not acceptable. So what you're saying right now is that you're respecting their right to anonymity, but you're not respecting Tavis's right to defend himself. So you're basically a lynch mob. That's what it's a high-tech motherfucking lynching. That's what that shit is. And there's no other way to lay it out. So anyway, additional allegations are continuing to come to light since last week's announcement. So they basically said, we got more for that ass. Like we come like Tavis, okay, you went on Good Morning America. all right, we about to go nuclear on you, right? So Tavis is going to be smeared. If Tavis ever like got drunk and had sex with a transsexual midget, you're gonna find out about it. If his mama got bad credit, you're gonna find out about it. If he got a cousin who went to jail, like, you're gonna find out about it. They're gonna do to him what they tried to do to Trayvon Martin when he died, when he got killed by George Zimmerman. Remember, they took every horrible picture they could find of Trayvon and literally plastered it like somehow Trayvon was the aggressor. That's what they're gonna do to Tavis. They're gonna do a Trayvon Martin on a grown-ass man. Anyway, so, quote, in contrast, PBS has been consistent. PBS stands by the integrity of its investigation, which has been conducted by an outside firm with expertise in such matters. Mr. Smiley's own words today, coupled with the information discovered during the investigation, confirms PBS's decision to indefinitely suspend the distribution of Tavis Smiley. That's the name of the show. So I think that what's also really happening is that they just hate each other. Like, I think that Tavis has had a bad relationship with PBS for a long time. PBS said, great, we got an opportunity to get rid of this guy. And it might be because, for all I know, Tavis could be a prick to work with. I'm not even taking that off the table. I don't know. I mean, honestly, to be real with you, I don't even know if I could work with Tavis. I don't think Tavis would want to work with me, and I wouldn't want to work with him. I ain't gonna lie. But I'm gonna stand by him on this issue, because it doesn't matter how you feel about each other personally. What matters is right, wrong is wrong. I don't even care if Tavis wouldn't support me. I'm supporting him because I'm seeing this injustice, and it's sick. It's absolutely sick. Let me tell you what's also happening here. What's also happening here is they're doing the white liberal finger wag at him. What they're saying to you is that you have been convicted of being an immoral black man. You are a bad boy. You are an immoral black man because you are nothing but like them big buck ass niggas who go around and have irresponsible sex. And we think that you guys are just the worst, most vile, most disgusting creatures that we've ever seen in our lives. Think about this. Pay attention to how a lot of the white feminists, not all of them, but many of them, how they talk about black men and black male culture. They use terms like patriarchy. When they use terms like that, they're looking at black men and the black family and the way we structure our families, and they're like, that's disgusting. Like, what's wrong with these people? They're such idiots, such Neanderthals. Black woman, you need to abandon the black man. We're going to put TV shows on like Scandal and remind you that you're better off being the white man's side chick than you are standing next to a black husband. That's what they're really subtly saying to you. It's not a coincidence that on both Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder, both of those women are dating white men. They're telling you your men ain't shit and you need to go date a white man. That's what they're pretty much telling you. So at the end of the day, Tavis is being niggerized. That's what he's doing. They're like, look at him. He's a bad person and he's not living consistently with the values of PBS, and that's why we're getting rid of him, because he's immoral. When I say I'm getting rid of you, because you're behaving in a way that is inconsistent with my values, what I'm basically kind of saying is that you're a bad person and that you're immoral and that you don't have ethics. That's what they're saying, right? So here's the funny thing. Here's what's interesting. Here's the little trump card I'm gonna drop on your ass right now, PBS and any white liberal who's somehow offended by what I'm saying today. I need you to look in your own backyard and realize that I don't know how much Tavis has done in his life. I can't defend that man. I don't know that man like that. But he probably can't hold a finger. He probably doesn't have an ounce on your superhero called Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is probably one of the most sexually disgusting, most unethical human beings that you can ever imagine. I'm not even talking about the fact that he sent millions of black people, ruined millions of black families by sending hundreds of thousands, if not millions of us to prison. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that that man spent 40, 50 years fucking every single thing that moved. And in all of your outrage over Tavis Smiley, and we're going to take that, we're going to take him down. He's immoral. He's wrong. He admitted that he had sex, and he had sex many times, and he won't tell nobody how many people he's fucking on the job right now. In all of your outrage over Tavis Smiley, y'all ain't got nothing to say about Bill Clinton. Nothing. Y'all ain't said a word, and y'all know what kind of man Bill Clinton was. Bill Clinton, it's proven that Bill Clinton was getting his dick sucked in the Oval Office. It's proven. He admitted it. There is no fuzziness. There is no ambiguity in that particular allegation, but you ain't trying to ruin him. You ain't trying to destroy him. You're trying to protect your sacred cow. You're giving him fairness and due process, benefit of the doubt. Well, we really don't know. Maybe Monica Lewinsky took his penis and put it in her mouth without his permission, right? You're coming with all kinds of fantasies and all kinds of little mental and intellectual acrobatics to defend your hero, Bill Clinton, but you will make up all kinds of stuff to go after Tavis Smiley. Maybe it's because he's an easier target. Maybe you're still mad at him for his beef with Obama many years ago. Maybe he's just an asshole that you don't like working with. But I find it very interesting that you'll go after some people, but you will always protect your sacred cows. So I will say that since just fairness is fairness, if Bill Clinton, given that Bill Clinton is a bigger name than Tavis Smiley, given that Bill Clinton has done worse things than Tavis Smiley, given that there's more proof and evidence against Bill Clinton than there ever be against Tavis Smiley, and given that Bill Clinton has been fucking far longer than Tavis Smiley has, I say you go after that target first, and then you start coming after people like Tavis. Because you can't sort of get all mad about what one guy's doing and then act like what another guy did somehow doesn't matter. That shows your bias. That shows it's wrong. And let me tell you another big elephant in the room, PBS, that you need to pay attention to as well. Here's the thing. You're following a bandwagon right now, and I'm so disappointed in that network because they claim to have all this integrity, right? And they really try to get away from the commercialism. That's why they don't have corporate sponsors. So God bless you for that. But isn't it so interesting that they're following along this bandwagon, this bandwagon of nonsensical, pressure cooker, like everybody is getting accused, witch hunt like atmosphere, which is totally anti-intellectual. I mean, you claim to be a network that promotes thoughtful conversation. Well, my God, if there's ever been a better time, a more critical time to have a thoughtful conversation, it's now. So you claim to be all of this, but you're following on this bandwagon, and you're following the bandwagon, which is leading you to believe people, when they come forward with 40-year-old allegations, they have no proof whatsoever. You're destroying people's careers with things that have no evidence that literally could be vendettas that people made up. But yet, at the same time, you know as well as I do that while some of these allegations go up and down and nobody knows for sure who did what or what their intent was, we know for a fact that there was 400 straight years where Black people were raped, we were lynched, we were robbed, we were terrorized, we had our families destroyed, sexual harassment, shit. Black women Black women haven't been able to say anything about sexual harassment until probably 2010. Harassment wasn't even considered to be a real problem. It was just something that they just dealt with. They just knew that if they complained about it, nobody would listen. We can prove all of that. Unlike the stuff that you are coming forward with, there's evidence, there's proof. And so while you're supporting all this nonsense, going after people who may or may not be guilty in this witch hunt atmosphere, you have nothing to say about reparations that are owed to Black people from documented rape, documented castration, documented harassment, documented terrorism, documented robbery, fully documented, fully proven, long period of time, affecting more people, and you have nothing to say. So at the end of the day, the part of the reason your Me Too movement has no credibility whatsoever is the fact that you're not being consistent. He used those words in that sentence. PBS has been very consistent. No, you haven't. So get out of here with that nonsense. You're not being consistent at all. You're being incredibly unethical. You're being incredibly biased. You're being incredibly untruthful. And you're going after this one guy because you got some beef against him for God knows what. And you're following along with the trend like a stupid ninth grader. And you're not actually trying to have the real conversations. And a lot of the reason you're also scared to do that is because if you have to actually confront your own, that's when you shrivel up like a bitch because you're too afraid to deal with the real issues that are actually happening in this country. And that's why I will never mess with you, and I will never want to do business with you, and I do not want to have any association with you. This ain't about Tavis Smiley. This is about white supremacy 101, and all this stuff is just nonsense. So I gotta go, guys. I'm done talking. My girlfriend bought me some chicken, and so since I got chicken, I'm about to be a stereotypical Black man and go down on this food before my next meeting. So anyway, take care, guys. I'm about to bounce. Don't forget, make sure you hit the like button, share button. Make sure you subscribe. This is independent Black media. We tell the truth. Nobody can tell me what to say. I didn't even tell anybody what I was going to talk about today. I ain't got to ask permission from nobody. So I hope you guys will support what we're doing. We're truly here trying to help the people, trying to do our best, to be honest. So we love you very much. Love you from the bottom of my heart. If you have not gotten started on your wealth building journey, feel free to join us at the Black Business School. You can actually get started in the Black Business School for free. We have paid classes and they don't cost much. But if your money's short, don't worry. You ain't got to pay money. Just pay attention. So go sign up now. Bring your children. Sign up at theblackbusinessschool.com. That's theblackbusinessschool.com. Make sure you sign up. We're talking about wealth building. We're talking about empire building. We're talking about cryptocurrency investing. We're talking about stock and bond investing. We got real estate faculty. It's a true Black empire. We have over 51,000 students now, and we're all over the world. And this is our contribution to the future of Black America, where we ain't begging and borrowing from nobody. We're going to be running the show. That is the future. I have seen it. God showed it to me in a vision, and I believe it from the bottom of my heart. So take care, everybody. You have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care now. Peace.